Critic for the New York Post. She's also a TV host, radio personality, and author. She's penned some great nonfiction, but today we're talking about her latest work, a novel called The Sixth Station.
Okay, we are thrilled to have Linda Stasi here, and the idea for this controversial book came to her while on vacation at a holy shrine in Turkey. It sounds so intriguing. Good morning, Linda.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you here because you're going to be on the Today Show tomorrow. If you can get out.
I can get out.
I know. Let's just say that you will.
We need another holy shrine.
Exactly.
Maybe they'll do a remote or something with you from Milwaukee.
I don't think so.
Today's show.
From the airport. You know, this is exciting. Your book, it's called The Sixth Station.
Right.
You actually came up with the idea, as we mentioned, while you were at a holy shrine in Turkey.
Right.
Talk about why you decided to write this book and what it's about.
The whole story is so unbelievable. My husband and I decided we'd take a road trip, but not like normal people to take a road trip to Orlando or something. We decided we'd take a road trip in Turkey. So we got to Ephesus, and my idea, our guide was a college professor. Out-of-work college professor, and all I wanted to know is where she got the knockoff Chanel purse. And all she wanted to do was take us to important religious sites. So I said, okay, we'll go to an important religious site. So we went to the house of the Virgin Mary, and I said to my husband, now we are in Orlando, because for sure the Virgin Mary wasn't in Turkey.
Right.
Turns out she was. As a matter of fact, when Jesus was on the cross, he said to the Apostle John, "She is your mother too," and charged John with caring for his mother. John went to Ephesus and started the first Messianic Christian community there. And her house is there. It was buried for over 1,000 years, and it was found, and something happened to me in that house. I changed. I went in as a wise ass, and I came out sort of changed, and I just wanted to know if I thought, well, this must be the most important relic in Christendom. How come I, as a Christian, don't know about it? And then I found out there was actually another relic that was much more important, that I believe has the true face of Jesus on it and contains the DNA of Jesus.
DNA.
Yes.
And you brought a little example of what you're talking
I don't know if you'll be
about.
able to see it, but in the mountains of Montepello, Italy, there is it's called the Veil of Veronica, which...
You'll be right on that camera if you hold it up.
Which is the sixth station.
The sixth station of the cross. And here's the Veil of Veronica, which you probably not be able to see. And here's the Shroud of Turin. Okay, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Those are the pictures that I took of the veil when I was there. And if you can see, it's actually quite miraculous. The face changed in both pictures. In the first picture, his mouth is closed. He looks beatific. In the second picture, his mouth is open. His teeth are bared. And as I said, I traveled there with an exorcist priest from the Vatican, and I showed him as the pictures were changing on my camera, and boom, he fainted dead away on the altar. And now I'm thinking, okay, I'm in the mountains of Italy in a monastery with a dead 80-year-old exorcist priest from the Vatican. And I'm thinking, this is going to turn into Weekend at Bernie's. I'm going to have to be driving this guy back and saying to the Vatican, oh, excuse me.
I need a little help here.
But he didn't die, thank God. He was so overwhelmed with what we saw and how the image kept changing that he passed out for 10 straight hours. And the monks and I had to carry him into a room to sleep.
And this is true.
This is true.
You're saying something changed, the image changed
if
on
you
your
see
camera.
on my website, I have the pictures.
Okay.
And this, as it turns out, it's called the Veil of Veronica. And I said to the monks, do you honestly believe that a woman named Veronica wiped the face of Jesus as in the sixth station of the cross? And he said, do you think that a woman named Veronica lived in Jerusalem 2,000 years ago? And I thought, okay, that's sort of a modern name.
This is what a monk said
to me. The monk who's in charge of guarding it. And I thought, well, yeah, that's sort of like Saint Betty, I guess. He said, no, it means Veronica, true icon in Latin, Veronica, true icon. He said, and it was a way for them to explain away this miraculous cloth in the Middle Ages. They invented a woman called Veronica.
Because Veronica is never mentioned. This is never mentioned in the Bible.
No.
There's no Saint Veronica.
There is no Saint Veronica.
Now this
You're
book
hurting
is being
a lot of
called.
people.
I know, but
is this where the controversy comes in with this book?
Well, I think the controversy is that, yes, the controversy is that there is no Saint Veronica. The controversy is that she'd never wipe the face of Jesus, but the veil exists. Now, what I have discovered, what I believe, that 2,000 years ago, when a Jewish man died, they'd put a veil of some sort or a napkin on his face. Then they'd wrap a shroud around it. The reason that the veil and the shroud of Turin match up exactly is I believe that this is the burial cloth of Jesus and the shroud. And when he arose from the dead, Mary Magdalene was the only person there, and I believe she took possession of the cloth that had his imprint, went to France, and in the book I have traced the history of this veil from that day.
I have goosebumps just listening to you talk about these, events that so many of us have heard so many stories about. And I think, your book has been compared to the Da Vinci Code.
Yes.
You've had, you have a lot of factual experiences. You've been to every place that you talk about in your book. You've been there and experienced it. What is your overall message? When you want somebody to read this, what do you really hope that they take from it?
Well, I hope that they take from it that Jesus actually existed. There's, I believe there's the proof on the earth. I believe there's the DNA. I think we have an actual portrait of his face. But the message of the book is, if Jesus came back again in modern times, because the book takes place in modern times, would the same thing happen again? Would the powers that be think that he was dangerous and needed to be executed? Would we be more enlightened this time? Would we call him a terrorist? Because 2,000 years ago he was called a seditionist. Would we call him a terrorist now?
Very interesting.
A lot of food for thought there. I'm very excited to read your book. It's called The Sixth Station. You're on the Today Show tomorrow. People can find out so many great things about you. You've been all over the place. You write for the New York Post, so a lot of people are familiar with your work. I want to make sure that everybody has your website. It's thesixthstation.com. And important enough, as you said, the pictures are on your website, so people can go out, see them for themselves, get a copy of your book, available at all local bookstores?
Yes, as well as Amazon, Barnes & Noble online, and all the local bookstores, all the indie bookstores.
It was a pleasure.
That was great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It was great. All right, up next.